Okay. Here we go. Who will be in the cruise? Raise your hands. I would love to see more hands over there. Okay. Let me tell you something about the cruise. The cruise is going to be through the Caribbean, and the first island you're going is my country, Honduras, Bay Island. And I'm just going to add one thing. You have the #1 coral reef of the world, right? We have the second place. We are in second place, yes, in the Bay Island, which is Honduras, my country. It's an island nearby, in 15 minutes in a plane.
Is it Rhodes?
And you're gonna be going to my country then. So let's see more hands. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's first. I was remembering. I forgot to tell you that before. That's one thing, and it's precise the moment that that Tyler talked about the cruise. I remember, and one other thing I need to start before I get really started is I need to clarify something. What I just told, and what I'm gonna tell you right now, is not pretending to cure or treat any disease. Okay? We are not pretending. We are in confidence here with people that understands. We wanted to raise your belief. Everything is raised in belief, right? So we wanted to raise and create a belief on yourself, on your product, on your company, on the results. But when you get out of here, don't put all of that info, in the social media, and don't use it just direct, like in a straight way to the people. Just let the product work. That's it. Just try it. It's gonna help. Like this amazing couple said, let's make it simple. Let's make it simple. Let's keep it simple. Okay? So don't try to be doctors. Don't try to be this and that. Okay? Don't do whatever I do. Okay? It's so complicated. Yeah, I fight it all my life because I am a little bit complicated, as you can see. So we are trying to build your belief, okay? And okay, let's get started. What happens? Okay, again, I just solved that. Okay. I end up the prior presentation because we were like in a conversation with Jane, and he told us he found this in 2015-16, okay? And he found also that this curcumin, which is the main bioactive component of turmeric, was only 2 to 5% of the root, okay? Of the total weight of the root. It is the most studied component. Currently, there are more than 400,000 scientific studies. If you get in the National Institute of Health, NIH, of the US, you will find more than 400,000 scientific studies. What the logic tells that to you, to your brain? There's something over there. They won't be spending money, time, science, pursuing what? A ghost? No, something is over there. And it's a lipophilic nature, dissolves in fat, does not dissolve in water. They've already told us about that. And he told me, again, this is supportive, okay? Molecular mechanisms of curcumin action, again, in the gene expression. In your genes, in your DNA, you have what we call family, ¿cómo se dice? I forgot the word. The word. The inheritance. Okay? The inheritance of your parents are written down in your genes. Okay? Are you okay? Are you with me?
Yep.
Okay. So look what they found in 2013. There's a molecular mechanism where curcumin action in gene expression. How? Neutralizing through a mechanism. You don't need to know NRF2 and all of those things, but you need to understand that it's done. It's discovered. Science discovered this. And they discovered that based on disability, there's a preventive various diseases, including cancers, arthritis, allergies, atherosclerosis, but they're still talking about curcumin. But in the same document, they said it's not absorbable. It's not in your bloodstream. It's not in your tissues or cells. So I'm sorry. Sorry about that. We found it in the lab, in vitro, not in the person, in a lab. And then, as you might know, the problem, it doesn't matter how much curcumin is consumed. It's important to how much it is absorbed and how much reaches the bloodstream, organs, and tissues. That's the main question. Because if you get out, you could find curcumin with black pepper, curcumin with a coconut lipid something, curcumin with this and that. There's a lot of tryings, the industry is trying because they know the potential of curcumin. But when they found this, that nothing more than 5%, absorption less than 5% in blood. Some of them said 1%. But let's say 5. Okay, and if you put black pepper and things like that, maybe you could reach 9 or 10%, being a good fellow. Okay? So what happens is that they started talking about consuming large amounts of turmeric. When I saw what's happening outside, they started to say, use 2,000 milligrams, 3,000 milligrams, 10,000 or 10 grams. It's a huge amount, right? But what they found is, again, look at this, 12 grams a day in this study. 1% they found it when they checked the blood. 1%. Okay? So what happens? The sad end of curcumin is 2 to 5% of that 500 milligrams, just to make an example, goes where? 50% absorbs, 50% go right away over there. Okay? But the 50% that it absorbs in the liver, only 10% of that 50% reaches the organs, 0.5 milligrams. And after that, the other 90% straight ahead. And this, in 1 to 3 hours, it disappears. Our molecule stands there for 24 hours. Yes, 10 drops a day. Are you seeing the difference? Okay, that's a very important thing. You said, after 3 hours, totally disappears. So, why is that important? Mental health, neuroprotection, as you could see, neuroprotective effects of curcumin. Okay? Curcumin has an effect on brain functional and mental performance. How? Protects nerve cells from damage caused by free radicals, oxidative stress, and inflammation. That's the answer. Curcumin promotes the supply of well-oxygenated blood to brain tissue. We're going to talk about nitric oxide here. People never talk about nitric oxide and curcumin. Why? I asked, why don't you talk about this? We need to talk about it because people doesn't know. It doesn't mean you're going to be doctors or you're going to be, a scientist. No, but you need to understand why you get better oxygenated blood in your brain, in your legs, in your wounds. You need to understand why, and I'm going to tell you right away. Emotional problems. As you could see, curcumin increased 2 key neurotransmitters in depression and anxiety. Have you heard about serotonin and dopamine? Okay. What happens? it can support also depression, anxiety, and brain aging. And another way curcumin affects depression is by reducing brain inflammation. So, but we're still talking about curcumin. Remember this. Curcumin and brain support also forms new neurons in the hippocampus, improves performance, memory tasks, reduces neuroinflammation, and protects against memory loss. We have plenty of bibliography about that. Plenty of it. Dozens of studies. What do you mean by that? Have you heard stressors are killers? Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
Okay. But what do we do? When you're stressed, when you're stressed out, what do we do? Chill out, they said. No. You know, you need to challenge yourself, your body and your brain. Challenge, because the stressors are already in your blood. You can't get rid of them. You can use them in favor, you know? So you need to exercise, gym, yoga, getting cold water showers. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
Okay? Meditate, read books, set aggressive goals, go for them, challenge yourself, go diamond. Go diamond and Vidafy. And you're not going to be stressed at all. You're going to get rid of the stress, okay? Okay. Have you heard about gut-brain axis? Have you heard about pure mental health with this kind of food? High in fat, high sugar, ultra processed foods. Have you heard about inflammation on this kind of food? And the relation between IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and anxiety and depression, because if you go this way, pure mental health, instead of going this way with omega-3s, low fat, low carbs, fermented food, vitamin D, C, probiotic and prebiotics, fiber and vegetables, this is the other side, positive mental health. This is the other side. And how does gut microbiota impact mental health? You could read it over here. Take a picture and go and read the material. I'm not going to give a class about this, but the thing is that we understand what's going on because curcumin is acting over that. And it explains a lot of situations that curcumin can do. Just to mention one example. Have you heard about tryptophan? You know what that is? Tryptophan is an amino acid. You remember that I talked about proteins?
Yeah.
You know what amino acids are? The building blocks of proteins? Okay, so what happens is that, just to mention one, tryptophan is metabolized by the gut microbiota, the bacterial flora in your gut. So, this produces metabolites that affect immune system, inflammation, and other physiological. You don't need to remember this, but these are the activated components that are produced from tryptophan by the gut microbiota. And what are the implications for health and disease? Dysregulation of tryptophan metabolites are linked to neurological and psychiatric disorders. So maybe you could have, this is essential amino acid because you need to get it from the nutrition. Okay? You need to get it from the eggs, the milk, the meat, the poultry, beef, you know. So what happens is that maybe you could get the tryptophan, but you got a dysbiosis. Your microbiota is not working well. So what happens is you don't get these results, and you're going to have psychiatric and neurologic disorders because gut microbes also influence behavior and cognition. As I said, serotonin, it has to do with mood, sleep, pain, and appetite, and melatonin, sleep-wake cycle. So if you understand this, and just to mention something, you could understand this gut-brain axis. Okay, just to make you one example, there are thousands of them. I just found one. So, curcumin has been improved various neurodegenerative conditions, including ALS, MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, stroke, anxiety, depression, aging, memory, learning, etc. However, the BBB is blood-brain barrier, impedes the delivery of curcumin to the brain. So the brain protects itself as a barrier. There's very, very few components that would go inside your brain. Curcumin is not one of them, but nanocurcumin is. You got that? Curcumin is not one of them, but nanocurcumin, nanotechnology, biomass technology is one of them. That's amazing. So, understand that mental health has all to do with gut health axis. It's not just gut brain axis, it's gut health axis. Because it's an access to the brain, but it's also an access to the heart, to the skin, oral health, liver, immune, hormone. So, what's the importance of this? Is that a lot of things could be explained because of that relation of gut health axis. And curcumin is one of the best things that could happen to your gut. That's the thing you need to understand. Okay? And gut-heart axis, just to mention an example, interaction between gut microbiota and curcumin, a new key of understanding for the health effects of curcumin. Just one example, there's dozens, but just to mention one, what happens is this. I'm not going to explain it, but you will understand that when you have a healthy gut microbiome, and the brain is here, and the cardiovascular is here, but if you have a healthy, and this is healthy, and this is balanced, and this is balanced, you're going to be with health. But if this is unbalanced, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, and those kind of things started to happen. Just like the gastroenterology and hepatology journal says about the gut in 2016, nitric oxide controls absorption. You know what that means? Nitric oxide is produced inside the arteries, in the endothelium. It decides for the arteries to get wider, so more blood could go to all the organs. If blood arrives, what arrives with the blood? Nutrients, oxygen, minerals, everything, and what gets out? CO2, toxins. So is it important for the blood to reach? Okay, and this is what guarantees. And this is what happens in every organ in your body when you guarantee nitric oxide. And this is what happens over here, let me see, with curcumin and cardiovascular. What happened with nitric oxide? This is what happens. The reduction of inflammation, regulation of vascular function, cardiac contractility, inhibition of leukocyte adhesion, and effects on cardiovascular diseases by increasing bioavailability of nitric oxide. That's what happened when curcumin started acting nitric oxide. Is that important for you?
Yes.
It's better than you think, right? Okay, this explains a lot. Because people come, I feel better in this. I'm more focused. I have, my memory is better. I feel energized. This is why. This is why, because blood perfusion is better with curcumin. But it has two functions over here. A tumor angiogenesis. Curcumin has both of them. Anti-angiogenesis and angiogenesis. Anti means a pro and against. When you created it, for example, if you have a tumor, the tumor needs to create a neovascular, so it could be fed with blood, right? Okay, so what curcumin does? It works against. But what happens when you have a wound because of a diabetic foot? It goes with you. It modulates, goes with you, goes against, goes with you depending on your need. A lot of people are asking, but if it's anti, what happened here? Or if it's in pro, what happens with this? It's a dual work that it's done. And it's been published since 2019. Curcumin and anti-angiogenesis. So, joint health, and you already know that the Ministry of Education and Research found out after decades that they need to do something, and asked the Hohenheim University of Chemistry and Nutrition. They donated 1.5 million and said, okay, we need the optimal transport mechanism of curcumin. This is amazing, but we need it to work. Okay? And this is the results. This is the study, this is the product, and these are the patents of 277 times absorption increase, 18,000% increase in absorption. So, you already heard about this, and maybe you have seen this before also. Solubilized curcumin extract. This is powder of curcumin, and this is our molecule, our discovery. Totally, hydrosoluble and no lipid water mixer. Okay? The alliances, the certifications, everything we got, and the result is a mesolized nanocurcumin with highest bioavailability on the market, German research product, easy to consume liquid presentation, effective, safe, and quality assurance. This is all you need to say. Just forgot everything I said before. Okay? Just raise your belief and say this. Because you believe will talk and, for you. You know? It's feeling. The feeling when you talk, when you believe what you're saying, you know? So what happens is that this molecule manages to reach where others do not. Okay? Nanomicelles penetrate blood-brain barrier, act on neuroinflammation, block free radicals, activate mitochondrial biogenesis, and activate neurogenesis. This is all about mental health. Which one was the number one? Mental health problems, you remember? Okay, so you're working over there. And the last one I was surprised was this about our molecule in the National Library of Medicine in the US. Nanocurcumin alleviates inflammation and oxidative stress. Boom. They validated us. Okay, they don't say here Vidafy because they are not a commercial. They are a science institute and they publish in their journals. But when you go there and read what they said, it's amazing. They are talking about the main problem, inflammation and oxidative stress. You have the solution for the number one problem out there. You have the solution. At least you have an option to support your friends and family and the people you care of. Okay? At least. Beneficial effects of nanocurcumin supplement on depression and anxiety. They were looking at a clinical trial of diabetic patients with peripheral neuropathy. Okay? And they found that these patients, diabetic patients with neuropathy, they were all stressed out and with anxiety, and the anxiety and depression just disappeared. And then they concluded that the depression and anxiety scores in patients with diabetic polyneuropathy, they were gone. So they still support. Novel bioavailable curcumin formulation improves indicators in rheumatoid arthritis. Forget about the disease. Just remember what it does for you. Okay? Novel therapeutic delivery nanocurcumin in central nervous system. Remember, novel therapeutic of nanocurcumin. We are talking about this kind of molecule. We're not talking about just curcumin. We're talking about us. So, validates again. Nanocurcumin and cancer, okay. Don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. But the application of curcumin and its nanoforms in cancer, you could go and read it. And this is the first thing that appears when you open the journal. And it says, look at what we found. Look at what we found. Oh, I said, okay, and I started reading, and I found this. Supportive evidence. And if you click in every number, they're going to send you to a study in breast cancer, to a study in pancreatic neoplasm, to a study in prostate cancer, etc. And I was surprised when I saw this. I was, wow, they already found it. You know, the science already know about this. They are using nanocurcumin and chemotherapy for treatments. They are already using them. I've seen the studies, the clinical trials, but they are not saying anything. And we are doing it since 8 years ago. So, give yourself a round of applause because you're in the best company of the world. Yeah. To end the conversation, there's a guarantee to reach your cells. This that you have over here will be in over 90 to 95% inside your cells and tissues. It will be there. We're not clear right now what it's going to do to you because that's personal. Every person responds like it's supposed to. It's different. But we already know it's going to do great things for you. Even if you don't feel it, it's working. Even if you don't feel it. People said, okay, I'm going to quit using this because I don't feel anything. They quit. And in 1 week they came back. I feel very strange. I don't have energy. I can't sleep. Oh, so it was doing something, right? So they just couldn't accept it. And if you don't invest in your health today, tomorrow you'll have to spend on your illness. If you understand this, you will get the chance of changing our destiny and humanities 10 drops at a time. And we heard something in Costa Rica, and you were there also. I'm not sure if you mentioned it was Brenda's, I think. She says, 10 drops at a time, we will build a wave. You remember? 10 drops at a time, we will build a wave. And if we keep building waves, we were going to build a tsunami. A tsunami of golden drops. And are you going to be surfing the tsunami? Are you going to be down? Oh, there it goes. There it goes, the tsunami. So the thing is, we are all in. It's Costa Rica. And I remember we were seeing the crocodiles and the monkeys. So they remember we were in Costa Rica. And my wife took this picture, I think. And Shane told me, are you all in? I said, I'm all in. Okay? So, are you all in? Yes. Are you all in? Yes. Okay. And who are all in? Thank you, Australia, for your sample of leadership. We love what you're doing here.